independent, credible,
Mahama, he is MP for Yendi constituency. Good to see you.
Good to see you,
Honorable Aliu Mahama. Also, Mahama, he is MP for Yendi constituency. Good to see you.
Good to see you,
Honorable Aliu Mahama. Also, and also Member of Parliament for Bolsa.
As a whole, we shouldn't use individual like party lines for it to be a situation that we say we are doing for instance. We are all working for the expectation of Ghanaians. So I believe that using just inclusion as a basis to hold us for ransom and saying that they will not come to Parliament. Yes, we have more than 136 and we have the majority. And we've been always attending meetings in the plenary and all that. But it's unfortunate. I think last week we had some of the MPs, if you care to know, ministers of state.
Credible,
Mahama, he is MP for Yendi constituency. Good to see you.
Good to see you,
Honorable Aliu Mahama. Also, Mahama, he is MP for Yendi constituency. Good to see you.
Good to see you,
Honorable Aliu Mahama. Also, and also Member of Parliament for both.
Esta semana en Macy's, prepárate para la vuelta a la escuela, con ahorros increíbles en todo lo que necesitan para el nuevo año, como equipos deportivos de pies a cabeza de las mejores marcas, camisetas gráficas para usar con todo, y un 40% menos en mochilas nuevas y accesorios de Kipling y más. Además, los miembros de Macy's Star Rewards ganan recompensas con cada compra, excepto tarjetas de regalos, servicios y cargos. Descubre más en Macy's.com/Star Rewards. Ahorros sobre precios en oferta y liquidación, aplican excepciones.
It's Black Friday in July at JCPenney. Shop the deals while they last. Head back to school in style with buy one, get one free jeans and pants from Arizona Jean Company. Plus, kids' uniforms start at just $4.99. And everyone wins with $2.99 Home Expressions bath towels. Or grab a coupon on the JCPenney app to save an extra 30% store-wide. Multiple choices, maximum style. JCPenney. Offers good on select styles through 7/23. Exclusions apply. Black Friday and July deals excluded from coupon. See store or jcp.com for details.
Leadership led by our chairman and the chief whip made sure that we abandon the committee work to make sure, because the NDC is trying to use this as a yardstick.
But you have 137 members in Parliament, plus the independent candidate who always sits with you.
Yes.
So you can easily raise 92 MPs to do business.
Yes, but we've not complained. It's the NDC that is saying that we don't have the quorum. And we have
it's your chief whip who complained that the NDC is holding everyone to ransom.
Of course, because they've abandoned...
Deputy Speaker, who is a member of the NPP, has also been frustrated.
Yes, frustrated because we find ourselves in a situation that we think cohesion and collaboration should be the yardstick. If you look at the fifth parliament, yes, frustrated because we find ourselves in a situation that we think cohesion and collaboration should be the yardstick. If you look at the fifth parliament, look at the same blood that runs through the veins of Adamu Sakande is the same blood that runs
in court. Why shouldn't your constituents get angry and vote you out?
Aisha, first of all, let me put things, in proper perspective, and by correcting my brother that the speaker never ruled that the boycott by the minority in Parliament, which boycott is aimed at giving us the opportunity to solidarize with our colleague Jachukoisin in court, is unlawful. The speaker never made any ruling of the sort. In fact, what the speaker rather said was that boycotts are a legitimate political tool that minority groups in parliaments across the world have used to register their dissatisfaction with government behaviors. So it's important to put things in a proper perspective. It's not true that the speaker ruled that our boycott is unlawful or It's contrary to the standing orders of Parliament.
But he was unhappy that you were not in Parliament, but your name was on the register as president.
No. One of our colleagues, Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa, raised an issue which bordered on the votes and proceedings, because in the votes and proceedings on the day in question, all the minority members were marked absent. So he stood up, caught the speaker's eye, and prompted the speaker that in view of the fact that the minority through its leader had served notice of its intention to boycott, parliamentary proceedings, it was important that our absence in the chamber was properly recorded to reflect the reasons why we were marked absent. So that was all. Okujeto raised the issue so that the votes and proceedings will be properly captured. By the way, Aisha, let me state emphatically that boycotts are not new to the Parliament of Ghana. Boycotts are not new at all. In 2013, the MPP minority at the time, led by Oseche Mensah Bonsu, boycotted the vetting of ministerial nominees. I was one of them. I was nominated as Deputy Minister of the Interior at the time. The minority boycotted my vetting alongside the vetting of all ministers at the time. The minority boycotted my vetting alongside the vetting of all ministers, such an important activity which borders on the core mandate of Parliament, which includes the exercise of, oversight. Two, we, the minority, will solidarize with our colleague before the law courts.
But Mr. Agalga, you are aware that there's separation of powers. There's the judiciary, there's the executive, and there's the legislature. Why should you punish the executive for a decision made by the judiciary?
Nobody is saying we are punishing the executive. We are not punishing the executive. In any case, when my brother had the opportunity to make his preliminary remarks, he indicated that they have a majority in Parliament. That is, if you add the independent member to their numbers, you have the majority group. And so they are capable of functioning even when we decide to embark upon a boycott. But the truth of the matter is that they themselves are not ready to do business, to prosecute their own business before the House, because they are busy campaigning for presidential aspirants, flag bearer aspirants of their party. Look, Aisha, you were spot on when you made the observation that they don't come to the House because all of them have pitched camp with the various, presidential flag bearer aspirants who are crisscrossing the country. You see, so they cannot make time to come to the House to prosecute their own business. And so we, I am saying, have a legitimate reason why we have decided to deploy a democratic, accepted tool for expressing our dissatisfaction at the behavior of the executive branch of government and even the judiciary.
In the event, Mr. Agalga, that the majority is able to garner 92 MPs to do business for the House, are you not doing your constituents a disservice for not participating in some of the bills that will be passed or some of the agreements that will be passed in your absence?
Well, Aisha, I am sure you are aware that one Justice Abdullahi went to the Supreme Court and sought an interpretation of certain constitutional provisions, and the Supreme Court made a pronouncement to the effect that for Parliament to take decisions, you need at least 1/2 of members present in order for Parliament to be able to take decisions. Now, when you spoke about the presence of 90 members of the House and you can do business. That number only constitutes a quorum for the House to commence business. But when it comes to the taking of decisions, you need one half of the members, of the House present. The issue is simple. We are of the view that the people of Ghana, the people of Asin North, expressed their sovereign will by electing a parliamentary candidate for themselves who would represent them in the House of Parliament and express their views on issues that come before the House. Now, the attempt to deny the people of Asin North representation should be the cause. Should be the cause of concern for all well-meaning Ghanaians. Why are they hell-bent on disabling the people of Asin North from having representation before the House of Parliament? We are saying that arrangement is unacceptable. When Adamu Dramani Sakande was put before the law courts, he was not prosecuted on a daily basis. At least he had the space, the allowance to perform his legislative functions. In relation to the people of Boko, why is it that this time around, the courts are telling us that as for Jackie Kwesi, he will be prosecuted on a daily basis, when they are aware that the same Jackie Kwesi was sworn in as a member of Parliament? And so we always saying is that there ought to have been an arrangement whereby Jackie Kwesi is able to perform his parliamentary duties and attend court. We have precedents in the past when Honorable Dana Bodekwe was charged.
Look for ways of building consensus. Then the opportunity, we don't look for ways of building consensus. Then the opportunity, our center, CDD, with Professor Prempe and Dr. Chambers and others, we work very closely with the leadership of Parliament, Parliament. I think most of it is as a result of some emotional outbursts because of the inconvenience that they continue to face. So I think let's be real about this. True, the eighth Parliament hasn't lived up to what most of us were hoping for, simply because I think they have refused, in most cases, to sit down and work out some arrangements. For instance, this issue of the honorable member for Asin North, I don't think that the leadership of Parliament would achieve very much from the press conferences that we hear from the majority side, from the minority side, and so on. We would have been expecting by now that they are doing some talking behind the scenes. But when they talk, they are talking past each other, they are talking in the media, everybody is digging in terms of their position. And this is not going to lead our country anywhere. So Aisha, these are my preliminary comments.
Dr. Kojopo Pune Asante, we've heard the First Deputy Speaker, Jose Usu, lamenting over how Parliament has been, especially this week, and how government business has stalled. Today, a member of the minority, Sam George, has been defending that and challenging his position that this Parliament is the worst the country has ever witnessed. Is this a view that you share? Can you unmute for me, Doc?
Yeah, good evening. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, good evening to the viewers and then to the panelists. I want to start by taking you back to 2021 when we did our post-election survey and we asked questions about the hung parliament. The expectations of Ghanaians then on a lot of the questions that we asked was very, very positive. Mostly 80% of respondents, feeling positive that a hung parliament would, first of all, ensure full attendance by MPs. So Ghanaians believe that with the hung parliament would be getting full, attendance of parliament, that it will keep the executive in check, that it would aid the scrutiny of international contracts.
Correct.
But they also did, make the point that they believe that it will slow decision making in Parliament. It will make MPs connive more on issues that affect them. It will disrupt MPP government's business and agenda, and then it would make policy and programs, sort of difficult. There's a certain uncertainty around it. So it's very interesting that even for the ordinary Ghanaian, the hung parliament sort of provided some sort of mixed, expectations. But when we did the Afrobarometer in 2022, and we, having sort of experienced the hung parliament for, about a year or more, we asked similar questions about what people, were now feeling. And they, you couldn't get the 80 majorities, but, less than half believed that it was effective in scrutinizing government spending. It was effective in passing laws, and that was like just 40%. And that consensus building and cooperation, was going to be the order of the day. That was also just 40%. So you can see the high expectations and the low ratings on the reality, and that has panned out in a lot of cases. That is really a mixed bag of things. So if you saw the rejection of some parts of the 2023 budget, you saw the issues with the appointment, where some MPs broke rank with their parties, with the NDC, promising that they were not going to approve additional ministers. There were issues with the e-levy, for instance. So there have been positives, particularly around scrutiny, around MPs taking more interest in what government was laying. In the past, as they say, you will have your say and we'll have our way, because people have the majority. So for me, it's not as gloom and doom as people paint it. It's a mixed bag, but Dr. Draman is right, because this was supposed to incentivize some sort of coalition building and consensus building. Rather, the two parties are behaving like they have dominant majorities, which is what they have had over the years, and completely unwilling, to work together. And that is what has, they were supposed to change, and they refused completely to change, even though the people wanted them to change. So I think if there's going to be any blame for what is happening, it's the MPs themselves that should be blaming themselves. As for Ghanaians, they are looking for a parliament that works, and that there is, consensus on very important matters. I am surprised that in the context that we are in, where just recently the World Bank just released, just a few days ago, its report on Ghana, and estimating that about 850,000 people are falling, into poverty because of food inflation, and food inflation is over 50-something%. And if you go anywhere, people are just reeling under the pressure of just finding basic food to eat. And here we are, all these things that we are doing in Parliament, when people want the Parliament to focus and find solutions to the problems that confront us. And we'll have an opportunity to talk more about, for me, whether this boycott is appropriate, at all, and even appropriate at this time, and that there should be other ways, to engage on these issues. So, as I say, it's a mixed bag. I don't accept that it's the worst of it all. If there's anything that is negative, it's because MPs have just refused, to respond to the opportunity given to them to build a parliament that is more focus on consensus building.
There certainly are implications for this, which I'll be coming back to you for. But let me ask you, Farouk, how does your side intend to deal with this whole thing? Your chief whip this week was frustrated as well, and he was unhappy that his own members, some of them whom he had defended earlier, were seen at the campaign scene of the vice president. How do you intend to deal with all of this? Remember, you suffer the bigger consequence because you are in government.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm not against a boycott, but the sustainability of such boycotts is a sense of a worry to all of us and the people of Ghana. And I believe that going forward, I think we must look at the bigger picture. Ghanaians expect a lot from us, and as our leaders and the leadership of Parliament, there should be cool heads must prevail so that we can have this consensus building cooperation. At the end of the day, we are chosen as representatives for our people, not just to just come and be in Parliament and not. And as government, I believe our president, the executive, is really, really interested in making sure that all the important bills, or when it's not a government led by our president who would want a system of leadership, both the divide, both the other side and the minority side, should have cooperation and consensus building. Because at the end of the day, we are about to rise, and we have like a week to rise, and we're expecting a mid-year budget review within the week. And I believe that going forward, all these hula baloo about absenteeism and non-cooperation and quorum that is also affecting the decision-making of bills that are supposed to be passed will be something that will be a thing of a past. That by the time we return from our recess, the cool heads will prevail, as other speakers have already espoused. There's a need for cooperation and consensus building. And with that, we are not just elected as members of Parliament for our own purposes, but the people of Ghana expect a Parliament, whether it is hanged or whichever it is. That is what God has given to us. But the onus lies on us and our leaders to cooperate, and there should be cooperation. And I believe that the NDC and the MPP would definitely work something out to make sure that Ghanaians will then understand that we are really to send a signal to the people that it's about the country and the people of Ghana, not just our political coloring that we have.
Your colleagues on the other side are making a demand, and they keep making and insisting on this demand because definitely they know that probably the executive can do something about it. They don't want their member of parliament to be tried on a day-to-day basis. Is this something the majority can work at to get this resolved so you can have your colleagues back in Parliament?
First of all, my senior brother, Agalga, is a senior lawyer. He understands the legal system of this country. The judiciary, as you said, the arms of government, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. You cannot, the wheel of this, when it comes to justice matters, rule of law, no, but I don't even think the President of the Republic can be seen interfering in these kind of works. So what it is that let us leave the courts and the work of the judiciary into the hands of the competent people. What can be done is that they should have a way within the courts, but for government itself trying to intervene in this is not something that is acceptable, because nobody would be seen interfering in these kind of processes. It is a due process, and I believe that the judiciary have competent people to handle the matter. It's not out of place for us to see that they're saying that they needed him to be appearing every day in court. Yes, that is the decision of the court, and we must respect that as politicians. And as a seasoned lawyer like my senior brother, he should understand that judiciary and the system of how it works should be left in the hands of the judiciary, and not rather use it as a bargaining chip to say you are using it to boycott. And if you do that, we are sending a signal that we are really prioritizing the justification over the expectations of Ghanaians, and we must collaborate to be seen, as the senior Dr. Pamo and my senior brother Dr. Rashid said, there should be some consensus building. Obviously, God gave us this 8th Parliament. We cannot run away from that. It's a test case. Cooperation is important. Leadership must come together, and we members of Parliament must look at the Ghana first and the Ghanaian populace, and the expectation is that we must carry ourselves well and perform our duties as members of Parliament.
Dr. Draman, what's your reaction to the response that, those people from both sides, the minority and the majority, who are absenting themselves from Parliament, are actually fulfilling their political duties? So we should just let the matter rest.
No, I don't think so. I completely disagree. I think on your platform and on other platforms, right from the beginning, when the NDC decided to embark on this strategy and boycott Parliament, I think I had indicated that this was not sustainable because, they were mixing what was a personal, legal kind of battle of an MP with their legislative representational role as MPs. They could, for instance, maybe deploy the strategy of maybe getting some of their senior members to accompany the honorable member to court, and then also maybe get their base, mobilized from the party headquarters to go and do this, so that they stay in the house and do the business of this country. Because, like you rightly noted earlier, if for any reason the MPP is able to mobilize the simple majority that is needed to make decisions, a number of Ghanaians are going to be shortchanged because decisions will be taken without the needed scrutiny, without the needed oversight, because we know in parliaments that oversight is a business of all members of parliament. But the reality is that most of the time oversight is the business of the minority. So if the minority is absent and some key decisions are taken without my MP representing my interest, without Honorable Agalga representing the interests of the people that he represents, then I think the people would have the right to complain that their MP has abdicated his responsibilities and his duties. Now let's look at the issue of the other side, the majority side, because NDC has clearly come out to tell Ghanaians we are boycotting Parliament. So if they are not in the House, we understand. But for me, my biggest worry is the majority side. Where are the MPs? When you bring your cameras into the House, I think we see their side empty. And they should be there and be complaining that the other side is not there. But most of the time, we don't see them. And then their chief whip is on TV talking about absenteeism of the other side. And I don't know what kind of questions that the media is asking the MPP side. They have to account for their members. So I think the issue of absenteeism cuts, across. And I have said that, look, I think this issue is, not an issue of today. Since the 4th, 5th Parliament, 6th Parliament, 7th Parliament, we've had this over and over, speaker after speaker. We have the provision that you referenced, Order 16, about the 15 absent days, then you lose your seat. We know that realistically, this is never going to happen in this country. We've seen what happened recently. The 3 members that were taken to the Privileges Committee. Yeah. Did you hear anything again? So what some of us are saying is, look, in the Scandinavian countries and other democracies, what they have done is that they say, we know we cannot look in the eyes of our own members and say we are expelling you from the House. We take a much more pragmatic approach. You absent yourself, you lose your allowances. You absent yourself, you lose certain benefits. I think that might be the way to go. Unfortunately, we don't have that in our standing orders. So we are going to have to live with this frustration of absenteeism for some time to come. But Aisha, let me touch very briefly on the scorecard of this Parliament. Those who, for instance, look at the Parliament and measure it by the number of bills that this Parliament has passed, definitely will be disappointed, because that number is lower than most other parliaments that we have had. But that's not the concern of Ghanaians. We are not looking for bills. We are not looking for new laws. I think we have enough laws in this country to regulate our business as a country. what Ghanaians are looking for is proper oversight and accountability. Levels of corruption that, we continue to live with government after government. That is what Ghanaians are looking for. And that is where our parliament, I think, is being called upon to show some leadership. So if you measure this parliament by the number of bills that have been passed, certainly you'll be quite disappointed. But if you start looking at oversight, I believe in this 8th parliament, we've seen certain things that we've never seen in previous parliaments. For instance, I've been following this, our parliament since the 2nd parliament. I never knew that, this parliament really has the powers of, budget making until we came to this 8th parliament, the e-levy and all the other related matters. And then the issue of, vetting ministerial nominees. I think we've seen some disappointments where some members, through the power of the secret ballot, which again we have seen in this 8th parliament, have broken ranks. Either during the election of the Right Honourable Speaker or some of the other ministerial nominations and appointments that we have seen. And then finally, Aisha, I think this parliament has done something that no other parliament in our republic, at least for the last 23 years, has done.
Which is?
The new standing orders that are about to come into effect, which, are resetting the power relationships that we have in parliament, where, leadership of committees are going to be divided, and even some key committees given to opposition parties, where committees are going to be open to the public. Beyond the Public Accounts Committee and the Appointments Committee. CDD has done some work, invested a lot of money over the years. Our center invested a lot of money in trying to change these standing orders. We never were able to do it. Star Ghana did a lot of work. So we have to commend this parliament. So when we are looking at, assessing this parliament, it has to be devoid of emotional outbursts, devoid of the inconvenience that some MPs are living with, and realistically look at, what on balance has been the record of this parliament.
Okay.
There have been some downs and there have been some ups, and I think that's what we need to keep in mind.
Mr. Agalga, are you not worried that after 15 sitting days, if your members continue to do this, you may lose your seat?
I'm not worried. I think the language of the standing orders is very clear. If there is a just reason for the absence of the member, that could be, a basis for the member to be, as it were, pardoned for his absence. So it's not automatic that a member who absents himself for 15 days will lose his seat or her seat. And that is why the Honorable Okudzeto Ablauko made the point that it was important that the votes and proceedings reflected the reason why the minority was going to be absent from Parliament, especially on court sitting days. So I think we need to read and interpret the provision, I think, on the 16 of the standing orders very well. Actually, having said that, I think I'm excited that Dr. Draman has put things in their proper perspective relative to the performance of the 8th Parliament. In fact, when I heard that the first Deputy Speaker argued that the 8th Parliament is the worst of all the parliaments, I cringed. I was shocked and disappointed that such a statement would come from the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament. Look, this is the first time a parliament has elected a speaker from the opposition party. It is the first, and this parliament takes credit for achieving such a huge, success. Now, I am not trying to suggest that the Speaker of Parliament must participate in the debate and exercise his discretion in a manner that advances the cause of the opposition party. But like it or not, the mere presence of a speaker who comes from the opposition, the mere fact, the fact of it, enhances Parliament's oversight mandate. That is a fact. And so, for the first Deputy Speaker to have made those comments, seriously speaking, I was disappointed. Aisha, look, let me make one point, and it has to do with what my brother, Honorable Farouk, the member for Yendi, said with regards to how independent the judiciary arm of government is, and when it sets out to work, we must respect their decisions. Aisha, we are all aware that in Judge Kwesi's case, the court did not, on its own motion, take the decision to try Judge Kwesi on a daily basis.
But the court clarified that last week and said the president had no business with their decision.
No, Aisha. The court made that decision on the Attorney General's motion. And who is the Attorney General? The Attorney General is an agent of the president. He is the president's agent. Now, many well-meaning Ghanaians, including a former Attorney General from the MPP, Honorable Ayikwe Otu, have made the point that given the trajectory of the Judge Kwesi case, it is important that the Attorney General exercises his discretion under Article 88 of the Constitution by discontinuing the case. What the lawyers will say, the entry of a nolle prosequi. That is a discretionary power vested in the Attorney General.
The Attorney General has also explained to you why entering a nolle prosequi is not the best way to go. Have you read his statement on that?
So you see, the failure of the Attorney General to exercise his discretion as provided for under Article 296 of the Constitution is at the heart of the problem we are facing right now in Parliament. He doesn't want to exercise his discretion in a manner that would unite us. I thought a while ago we were all preaching unity, consensus building, and so on and so forth.
What would your presence do or not do in court when your member is facing trial?
No. It's an act of solidarity. If you say one member from the opposition should not perform his legislative role, when we all know that courts, and the legislative, the arm of government, must always work in tandem and in harmony to ensure that government machinery does not grind to a halt, then we would also proceed to the court to solidarize with our colleague. It means that right from the word go, this government is not interested in consensus building. We are not saying don't try him. You can try him. But Aisha, how on earth can you justify the daily trial orders that the court made? What do we stand to achieve by trying him on a daily basis when we are aware that not until the man is proven guilty, he must be respected as someone who is innocent in line with the rules of fair trial. He must be allowed to discharge his constitutional mandate to his constituents until he's convicted. But if the orders are that on a daily basis, Judge Kwesi should be in court, are we not simply saying that, look, the legislative arm of government shouldn't function? You see, that is the logic behind our boycott. And I'm sure, like Dr. Draman posited, the minority group ought to be in Parliament to perform its oversight role. We know the majority side, naturally, it's not their place to perform the kind of oversight that is envisaged under the Constitution. And so the mantle falls squarely at the doorsteps of the minority group. But they should not frustrate us in our quest to exercise that function.
So this is something
This
is something that you intend to do as long as your member is being tried on a day-to-day basis, right?
Absolutely, we have served notice to that effect.
Let me bring in Dr. Kojo Pumpuni Asante. Are you worried that this could become the norm of the day, especially as we get into elections next year?
I think we have to be very, very careful, when we sometimes use our political tools in Parliament, because really we are getting into the realms of, preserving and promoting the rule of law. And, when Honorable Agalga makes the point about discretion, the Constitution is very, very clear in 296 that you cannot use discretion in a capricious, arbitrary way. You have a duty to be fair and candid. So, yes, Mr. Jesse is a member of Parliament and he has constitutional duties to perform. But just like any other guardian, he has rights. Other people have rights. Other people are tried before the courts every time. They have all kinds of conditions that can impact the ability to earn an income and take care of their family. Nobody's out there saying that those people, should be also protected because they have a right to, to earn an income and have economic rights under the Constitution. You see, when we begin to, create these privileges and justify it on the basis that, this is a special class of people and they should be protected, then I become worried, because then when there's you cannot extend that principle. So I think that, yes, boycotts, it's a political issue, and we've seen all kinds of boycotts that, have been done for me where the principles are not consistent. And in this case, I don't think that, I think Mr. Jesse Kwesi has good lawyers. He has, we don't need all the parliamentarians going, to court to go and make the case. So what if the Attorney General exercises knowledge prosecution in this matter? How are we going to justify that because he's had pressure from a political group, and is that how we are going to be exercising knowledge prosecution, for political actors? It sends a really bad message. And as we are doing this, we are having, Tuesday, when the Minister for Finance is coming to present the budget, first time after this IMF program has been approved, parliamentarians have to be focused, 100% focused, to be able to interrogate what is being presented, because it has serious implications for Ghanaians. So if the opposition, that as Dr. Draman said, we are entrusting to keep an eye, on what is being brought to the Parliament for all of us, so that we make sure that, the interests of Ghanaians are protected, not in Parliament, not focused, not preparing for the budget to be read and the interrogation, and it's a very, very short period in any way. And that also has to change. So I for me, just the legal principle of it, I find it very, very difficult, to support what the NDC is doing. I understand that, yes, this is an important issue for them, but to exercise this tool for this purpose, I think is inconsistent with some of their own aspirations that they espouse as an opposition in Parliament.
Right. Let me bring in Farouk briefly. We're running out of time. Your colleagues on the other side are quite stubborn. They say that your Attorney General, who is an agent of the President or government, has what it takes to internally prosecute to end this case, and also step in to, even if the man will be tried, it shouldn't be on a daily basis. Is this something majority, your side, want to do to actually speak to the Attorney General, appeal to him to do this for the minority?
First of all, let me my learned senior brother
We ran out of time, so
knows that
make it brief
the
for me.
powers that lies in this motion or whatever has to be squashed. It doesn't lie in the hands of government. It lies in the hands of the justices. And also, NDC the majority has taken us for ransom. And the success story is not about having an opposition speaker, but making sure that we collaborate to enhance the effectiveness of the 8th Parliament, and also to entreat Ghanaians to vote for the New Patriotic Party and their parliamentarians, so that going forward there won't be this experience of hung parliament. And in 2026, 2025, we will deviate from having a situation of a hung parliament and rather find a situation by Ghanaians voting massively for the New Patriotic Party and our parliament.